Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. I was the officiant at a very good friend's wedding, and boy, was that a spectacular honor. How did it go for you guys last week with thinking about what it's never too late to do and your legacy? I hope that, everyone took some time to really think about that and what are the things that you've wanted to start. On that same note for our Motivational Monday, I thought a great topic would be to think about good enough is good enough and what that really means. I know for me that sometimes I can get stuck in needing things to be perfect before I can move forward. For instance, these Facebook Lives, people have been telling me, I don't know, probably for 3 years that I need to do them, but I hadn't wanted to because I felt nervous about what I was going to talk about. I felt nervous about the camera. I just didn't feel like I could do it. And then finally I had to decide that good enough is good enough. I didn't have a visual. Well, a friend created it for me. Good enough is good enough. I have a book that I'm working on. I had to get to a point where it felt complete enough to send out to agents. Where are the areas in your life that you need to decide that good enough is good enough? Sometimes even with my kids, we talk about this, that if they've tried their best, they've studied as much as they can, they have done some of the things that they need to do to move forward, that they get to just call it good enough. And I know in our day and age of everything needing to be perfect, or you're not doing your best if you're not trying really hard continuously, that the good enough is good enough theory can seem backwards. But the truth is, it can really give you a lot of freedom to open up other areas of your life where maybe you'd like to spend some time. When I finally decide to do things that are good enough is good enough, it gives me time to do things that I'd also like to be spending time on. It makes time for friendships. It makes time for me to be able to take other risks. It makes time for fun. Because when I'm constantly striving to be better, to do better, to make it perfect, there's no time for any of those other things. And it's also like this. If you think about that hook that we put ourselves on, it's always that proverbial hook that we're constantly putting ourselves on the hook for things, and we wonder why we're stressed, we're tired, we don't feel like we're enough, and it's because we're living up to really unrealistic expectations. Good morning, Catherine. I'm so glad that you're here, and I love that you wrote, this is perfect being the enemy of the good. Isn't that the truth? It really is. And for the rest of you, I'd love to know where you need to adopt good enough is good enough. And this week, as you're setting your goals, think about something that you've really wanted to do and move forward with, but you haven't because it wasn't perfect, or it didn't look or add up to the thing that you thought it would. It doesn't feel the way that you thought it would. It feels like it'll be a failure if you haven't done the thing that you think that you still need to do for it. What's a small step that you can take? And I'll use this example. I was asked to be the officiant of a very, very dear friend's wedding. She's like a sister to me. She asked me many months ago, and I gotta tell you, I public speak all the time, but I was really, really nervous to do this. I practiced, and I practiced, and I practiced, and I speak in front of people all of the time, but this was different because it felt very personal, because it was a wedding, and it felt very important. And finally, my husband said to me, listen, you do this so naturally for a living. Stop looking at your paper and just get up there and do the things that you do. They asked you because they love that piece about you that just can go with it and that knows them. And when I thought about that and I left room for what might be, it really made it much different. The ceremony was beautiful. And when I got up there, it ended up feeling like it was just me and the bride and the groom. And I was really able to not look at the paper as much and to add in some things that I wouldn't have if I was so worried about it being perfect. And let me tell you, I was jacked about it being perfect. It felt like such a weighty thing to do. And good enough was good enough. It was more than good enough. So this week, what do you need to do? Where do you need to figure out how to have things be good enough? What is a goal that you can set, a small step that you can take where you can just have some faith that it truly will be good enough? If you could share that in the notes right now, that would be great. For me this week, I have a really big meeting with some clients. I feel a little bit nervous about it. It could be, potential for another great freight train of work. But the truth is, I'm going to go and I'm going to be prepared as possible. And the rest is going to be good enough. And they're either going to like me and want to work with me. It's either going to be a fit or it's not. Where can you put that into practice for your life this week? And that's what I'm going to leave you with today. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday at 3:15 as we go over our last of our secret series. And good morning to all the people that joined today. I'm so happy that you're here. If you listen to this later, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Have a great week, everybody, and share in the comments, what's good enough for you. And if you could share this with your friends, I'd really appreciate that as well. I am trying to grow this group. It's one of the things I'd really love to be able to share this messaging with others. And for all of you, happy Monday. Keep shining on purpose.